Welcome everybody to a brand new episode of the Zero Budget Podcast live.
Are you going to be able ever to do that without laughing?
I've been trying. The energy needs to open as whimsical in order for us to have a good time on the show.
Define whimsical.
You define whimsical.
You said whimsical.
Whimsical. You have to put the H into the W.
No.
Whimsical.
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 Can I talk now, or am I introduced yet?
Welcome everybody to the newest episode of the Zero Budget Podcast Live. I'm your host, KJ Singh. With me, as always, is my co-host, Matthew Hanks. Our featured guest is back today, KJ Dawson, and our very special, the photographer, iconic, pro gamer king, Sahib Singh is with us today. Welcome to the show, Sahib Singh.
Hello, everybody. I'm on the Zero Budget Podcast. Hopefully, we can have some good, interesting discussions.
Hopefully, we can.
Hopefully.
So fellas, you know how we started off. I ask you how your week has been because I'm a polite and courteous host. So we'll start with Matthew. How was your week, buddy?
It existed, I guess.
True to form, Matthew has nothing to say.
Yes.
KJ, how was your week, my friend?
It's been pretty good. I if you're watching this on YouTube, I got some new glasses. I kind of look like Mr. Peabody from Mr. Peabody and Batman. Like some about it just kind of look goofy, but I kind of flex with it.
I like them.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
They give your face a nice shape. May I say?
You may not.
Wait,
Take it back. Take it back right now.
I'm sorry. They distort your face wildly, and I hate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Now Josh is the only one without glasses.
Are you gonna ask about my day? Do I not like? Can I not talk about my
we'll get
week?
to it. Hey, whoa. First, let me talk about mine, so that we can feature you, the featured guest, today on the podcast. My week was okay. Sahib, how was your week?
Pretty good. Thanks for asking.
Of course.
Finally. So I had a pretty interesting week. I mean, not interesting. I've been inside most of the week because I've taken a summer class and the final's on Tuesday. So I've been inside, but the interesting part of my week, I started playing Horizon Zero Dawn, which, for anybody that doesn't know, is like one of the most amazing PS4 exclusive games. The story is insane, and I've just straight been playing that. Like, anytime I'm not doing math, I'm just playing it. So that's my whole week. That's all it entailed.
We also went rock climbing, but I guess that means nothing.
Oh, yeah, we did. That happened.
Hey, no big deal.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Hey.
When the fuck did y'all go rock climbing?
We went rock climbing on what?
I mean, is rock climbing, bro? Come on. It was like we went to Great Falls.
We climbed rocks.
It's not. I mean, we did climb rocks, but it wasn't like rock climbing.
It was like
it wasn't
hiking.
that deep.
We went hiking.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
You
well,
told
that's
us about this. That's so
I told you.
odd.
Dude,
I
there were
told
so
you
many
guys.
people. Like, you would think, like, oh, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Like, there wouldn't be so many people. It was like packed to like the limit. Everywhere you go, there was like a whole family doing like barbecues and shit, and they were like not even wearing masks.
Yeah.
It was wild.
It's wildly.
We were masked up though. 100%.
Yeah. Our people. We
Our-
wear masks.
Our people. Sorry, Matt.
Brown people wear masks.
So, Matt, from your experience, do your people wear masks?
I mean, generally up here in Nova they do. I really haven't seen someone who hasn't worn a mask. It's more like gloves tends to be an issue.
Have you guys been wearing gloves?
No.
Me personally, yes. Whenever I go out, at least.
I mean, I feel like the only time it's important to wear gloves is like when you're like filling up gas or you're touching something, like or you're paying for something. Then I feel like it's kind of gross. But other than or touching a door handle, other than that, like I'm like whatever. I don't need a mask.
We don't
I mean,
wear masks.
gloves.
We don't wear masks when we walk the dog. That's the only time. Or we're exercising outside.
I always keep hand sanitizer on me. I feel like that does the job. Until I have to like go home and do a full body cleanse.
Yeah.
Okay, so intros were out of the way. What's next on the Zero Budget Podcast? I had like a plan, and then we started talking about masks, and that entire plan went out the window.
Well, you're the captain here, so
Am I the captain?
you got it. Right now you are.
I'll take
because I said so.
take the captain title. Okay, so Sahib, you are a photographer, as I said, extraordinaire.
Sure. Okay.
So you have your own, how would you describe it, like freelance company?
Sort of. It's like I started it with the idea of just starting a brand where I could like express myself creatively, like my creativity. That's like I created it just for that purpose. Got there eventually, but it's kind of morphed into something where I'm like, oh hey, like maybe I can start doing freelance stuff and like start making money off of it. But like that's never how it started. It just started as like a creative outlet.
So how did you?
Sounds familiar.
How did you? How did you first like really get into photography? Because this has been a part of like your whole shtick for a while now. So how did you first get into it?
It's been a while. I mean, I feel like just like everybody, I've always like taken photos on my phone, and I always thought like that was cool. Like I definitely started like getting more into it when I started iPhone photography. Like I never posted any of these pictures anywhere, but I would just like, this was a couple years back, I would just go out and like take photos on my iPhone. It was like a shitty iPhone, but I for some reason I just loved the process of it. And like before that, I never really saw myself as like a quote-unquote creative person, but once I started getting into photography, I kind of thought like, hey, like this is something like I enjoy, and it's like creative. Who would have thought? So yeah, I started off with that, and as I grew older, I kind of went away from it for a couple years, and then what brought me back into it was film photography, but we could talk about that later in the podcast. But yeah, it's kind of been a part of me for most of my life, and I just think there's a lot of beauty in photography, and that's why I pursue it so much, and why I try my best to convey as much meaning as I can in my photographs, if that makes sense. Did I answer the question? I kind of started rambling. Yeah. I don't know.
So was there a moment where you kind of decided, okay, I want to do something with this, or like what was the process of, okay, I like doing photography, to Chaatrik Photography, the brand?
I guess it all started on Instagram, just like looking at all of these different photography accounts and seeing them make like such beautiful photographs and posting it and like having like meaningful like discussions. Like I know some of these photographers I follow on Instagram, they would like post a picture and then they would have a caption that like encouraged like discussion or something, and I just thought that was like the coolest thing. Like these guys are conveying so much meaning behind a photograph, and they're like having discussions, which was amazing to me. So I was like, I kind of want to do some of that. So once I saw all these photographers, I was like, hey, like I can do something like that. So that's where I got the idea to start an Instagram account, and where I would just post my photographs. That's where it all started. Honestly, the brand itself started. I started the Instagram account like 6 months ago, like barely. Like it hasn't even been that long. It's kind of a fresh idea that I'm trying to pursue. So yeah, that's about it.
And you seem to, in one of your posts, you had this like long description about wabi sabi, like the beauty in imperfection.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I forgot to mention that. That's wabi sabi. That is what inspired me actually to take the leap into doing photography, because I felt like I had something to say. So I completely forgot to mention that. So wabi sabi basically is like this philosophy I stumbled upon while I was just on Google doing random research. Anyways, yeah, so I stumbled upon it, and basically what Wabi Sabi, like, essentially what it boils down to is this concept of, like, finding beauty in imperfection. And that like blew my mind, because most nowadays it's all about, like, perfection. Oh, you need to achieve perfection. But here was this philosophy that was all about the opposite, like embracing imperfection and saying like this is beautiful, which was like, it blew my mind when I came. I remember talking to Japage about it, like when I first found out about it. I was like, yo, like you need to like read into this, it's insane. So that's when I was like, I was always intimidated by all these photographers that would post these amazing photographs. I was like, dude, I can never live up to that standard. But like once I started reading more into this philosophy, I was like, does that really matter? Like making perfect photographs, is that like important at all? It's more about the message, because I believe like photography is all about a message. It's not all about just the aesthetic. There should be a sort of like substance to it, if that makes sense. So Wabi Sabi is a philosophy I use for like all my photography, basically. Like whenever I take a shot, I take that into account. It's like, how can I make the most meaningful picture that I would be proud of, regardless of like whether aesthetically it's pleasing or not. It's like, what do I like? It's the photography is like about me, like what do I want to bring out? Yeah, I kind of rambled, but
no,
yeah.
That was good. We seem to have lost Matt. He said his internet crashed. So we're off to an amazing start here. But you talked about Wabi Sabi and also like your relationship with like film photography over digital. So I guess first we'll talk about like how did you get that preference for film photography? And then I guess we can also talk about like how that relates to Wabi Sabi. Well, let's talk about that first.
Yeah.
Like how did you, like you said, you started off with iPhone, so then I assume from there you went to digital, and then how did how did you then get to film and then decide you wanted to stick with film?
Okay. So yeah, I started with iPhone, and then when my brother was in high school, he was in a photography class. I've never taken any sort of like photography class. It's kind of something I've done on my own time. But he had a DSLR, I don't know if you guys know, it's kind of a popular camera, the Rebel T2i, like the whole Rebel series of DSLRs. So my brother had one of those, and he never used it. So I picked it up one day and started taking just random photographs. I actually have like some of the first photographs I've taken. They're ass, but like that's besides the point. Like it's just to show that like, wow, like I really like, this is like where it started. Like I definitely took like a lot of photos on the DSLR, but I always felt like there was something missing. Like I didn't enjoy it as much as I don't know. There was something missing. That's what it boiled down to. And then one day on YouTube, I came across this YouTuber, Willem. I don't know, you guys probably don't know him, but he's a film photographer. And it was just a random video of his where he just went around New York just taking photos. And I was like every photo, I was like amazed by it. There was like some quality about it that just stood out to me. I was like, wow, like this is like what I want to shoot. So that was like my first introduction to film photography, is like when I saw it on YouTube. And then after that day, I just kept on looking at different videos, and I was like, this is it. It's what I want to do.
Sorry,
and
the reason we're laughing is we're not laughing at you. Matt just texted in the group chat and said he has to do dishes.
Yeah,
so I just wanted to address that. That's why we're laughing. Not at you describing the beauty.
It's 4 o'clock. Why is he doing dishes at 4 p.m., bro?
I don't know. Just like wait till dinner or something.
The white people, bro, am I right?
The Minority Alliance is finally what I wanted it to be. He said that his internet crashed, and then he's like, apparently I have to do dishes now.
What if his family crashed his internet so he could do dishes? Like, what if it's a whole conspiracy?
I gave everything in me to not just geek, So in our like group chat, Matt goes, "Well, now apparently I have to do dishes right now, so I'll rejoin a bit." And Jeff just goes, "Bro." I just read it, like lost my shit. I was like, "Why?"
Like, I like saw the moment.
I was like, did I say something?
I saw the moment that you read the text, and then you looked back up, and we weirdly made like eye contact. I was so sorry.
Oh my god! Okay, that was a very
yeah. We weren't laughing at you talking about why you're passionate.
Yeah, I was like, no, like,
he was like, yeah, one day I just like
I can meet you outside right now, bro.
He's like, yeah, this is just something that I really love. This is something that's a deep part of me, and we're like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, and okay,
I'll
try to segue back
to where we were.
Please
Continue.
Yeah.
So I guess I can talk about it now. What I really like about film photography is the imperfection. Like that's the perfection for me, is the imperfection of film photography. It's kind of like an oxymoron, but so the thing is with digital photography, it's digital. It's like all a bunch of like zeros and ones. Like it's all electronic. That's what it is. But with film photography, it's more like tangible. Like there's all these chemicals just like combining. I don't know how exactly how it works, but just like combining to like make this imperfect image, right? Chemicals, it's like imperfect, but digital, it's like always set. Like it's hard to explain, but you can tell if you look at a film photograph and then a digital photograph, you can tell the difference. And another thing is that film photography is tangible, right? I feel like nowadays we've all gone towards like digital, but that has kind of left a desire to have have something tangible is what I feel like is another thing that I really like about film photography. It's all like hands-on, tangible. Like what you get is what you get. You can't really change it as much. And the imperfection is what it boils down to, is what I really love. And I could also talk about the process. Like the process of film photography is different than digital, because with digital photography, especially if you have like a DSLR or something, like all my friends do, and they just like, okay, they'll be like, okay, stand there, and they'll just like take like a million photographs, and then they're like, oh, I'll just look at it later. But I feel like that like kind of gets like cluttered really easily, and it's just like, I don't want that. I hate seeing clutter. So that was a huge thing of like, I don't want a million photographs. Like film photography really teaches you to slow down and like appreciate the beauty and like take it in. Because with film photography is you can't snap a million shots. You only have a certain amount of shots. So it's just, I feel like photography, like the essence of photography gets lost with digital photos, because you don't really appreciate what's in front of you. You just snap away and just edit like crazy, and just there's not that much of like the photography process that I love so much. There's more I could talk about, but let me like stop now and then like see if there's other stuff. But
I feel like just to like tie that into our world, that's sort of like the conversation of like live versus recorded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for theater boy, there's always that discussion of recorded plays don't bring you the same feeling that being there does.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like it's kind of the same thing of like, film is more of a process, and that process brings you more satisfaction, even though digital might be more accessible. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. I mean, digital definitely is more accessible. Like film photography, like at the start, digital is more expensive, but as you get more into it, so okay, let me just put it out there. Like a digital camera, to get like a decent one is like what, like 1K, and you get like a lens or whatever. I mean, it varies in price, but essentially, like once you get a digital camera and a lens, like you're set. Like you don't need to buy more. Like you don't have to buy more. But off the bat, there's that initial price. But for film photography, the camera itself is like hella cheap. I got mine for like $60, but the expensive part is like buying film and developing it. So for film to buy a good roll, like I usually shoot Portra 400, which is a film that like renders like skin tone really nicely. So like it's called Portra, so it's good for portraits. So that's like the film I like using. But okay, so it's $8 to buy the roll, and then to develop that roll you have to pay another like $8-9. And then you have to, and that once you get the negatives, then you have to put that on a CD. So that's like another like $6. So like once you like start shooting more film, like the price adds up, and eventually it'll like be more expensive than digital. So that's why like I guess film photography is not as accessible as digital. It just gets really expensive. Yeah.
You talked about kind of how you can kind of tell the difference between like digital and film, and which kind of got me thinking like everyone's kind of bullshit meter is like super on point nowadays. Like everyone can kind of tell when they see something fake, when they see someone just like who isn't being authentic. So I guess how do you try to bring out the most like authentic version of whatever you're photographing?
That's a really good question. That's something I ask myself every time I take a photograph. It's not like I can't like answer that. Like I don't have a set like answer to that, but I guess the beauty in it is that there is no answer. It's just when I take a photograph, it's more about like, I know it's like hella cheesy to say, but like it's more about like the feeling when like I feel like okay, this is a photograph like I want to take. So okay, let me answer this in a different way. So let me, for example, let's say I'm doing a photo shoot and I'm taking like portraits of somebody, right? So I line up the shot, the composition, everything's set. But one thing that I like to do to make the picture more authentic, okay, so I'll do a countdown. So like I'm taking the photograph, 3, 2, 1, I take the photo, right? But personally, I don't take the photo when the person expects it. Like I don't take the photo like at 1. Like everybody's like, okay, like getting ready, and then at 1 they're ready to take the photo. I don't do that because I feel like that's not as authentic as it could be. Like you're posing for the camera. So what I do is take the photo a second before or a second after. So like when the person's not expecting the photograph, because I feel like that's when they're most authentic, and that's like where the beauty lies. So I guess that's my best attempt to answer that is I try to uncover the beauty in photography. Like I don't find like shots that are like stiff and like I don't care if the shot itself is aesthetically pleasing. Like where's the substance? Like where's the meaning? Like what makes it like stand out? That's the best way I can answer that. I don't really have an answer to that.
Have you seen those Instagram videos where they'll step on some water or something and it'll splash up, and then they'll take the picture, and then they'll like heavily edit it?
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
I have an idea of what you're talking about. Yeah,
like what do you feel about that?
I mean, it's like to each their own. I'm not gonna sit here and say like, yo, like your photography shit, like put it down, like oh my god, like to each their own. Like I'm just talking about like my personal experience and like what I like. Like sure, like if you want to like oversaturate your photo so like you can't even recognize it, like go ahead, like do you. Like there's definitely a community for that too. Like some people love that look, but me personally, I don't like that look. I like more of a realistic look. That's why my film. Okay, another thing that I just thought of. Film photography, you don't really have to edit your photos as much as digital. Like it's weird. Like don't ask me how it works. Like I have no idea how it works, but film photos in general just look good. Like you don't have to heavily edit them as much as a digital. Like for digital photography, every time you take a photo, like you have to edit it to get what you want because it's such a raw, perfect image. Like there's no emotion in it, so you have to edit that in. But with film, like all those imperfections give it that emotion. That's another thing that I like about it. Is just it just looks nice, and yeah, the process is something that I really, really love about it. I just love, like, it's something I do to relax. Like, digital photography, you aren't able to, like, relax as much as with film. With film, you just take your time and you take, like, a couple shots here and there. With digital, you just, like, go off and take, like, 100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A shot of somebody and then you send it to them and they just edit the fuck out of it.
I know.
And you're just like, why did you do that?
Yeah. And I feel like photography in general is the way like the mindset. I think of photography as more than just photography, if that makes sense. I think like photography is like you can apply it to so many different aspects of your life. Like you like it teaches you patience, especially like if you don't get the perfect shot, like it's okay, you can try again later. And you just calm down, and it's like a relaxing thing to do, and it's really taught me a lot about like accepting things the way they are instead of trying to change it. Like before I started photography, I would always like want to improve it at all. I'd always like tear myself down, like damn, I did so bad on that high school essay. Like let me fry myself, and I would not think like I could improve. And like it was definitely like. Photography has definitely gotten me out of like some difficult situations. Just realizing like a mentality shift. Like once I started photography, I definitely had a mentality shift where I've realized that like even though I'm imperfect, like that's okay. Like I know it's kind of deep, but like that's honestly like what photography has taught me. Like imperfection is okay, and being perfect is just not gonna happen. So I don't know. It's just helped me a lot. That's all I have to say.
I think that's really interesting because we sort of got into that discussion last week too. Sorry, I'm like choking on water. Like the discussion of like perfection and striving for perfection in art.
Yeah.
I think this is like therapy for me and KJ because we talk about this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the constant. I mean, like I do film, KJ does music, and I feel like both of us, whenever we start something, just don't let up until it's exactly where we want it. And then when we release it, I'll speak for myself. And then when I release it, like, I'll look back at it and then I'll be like, I hate all of this. You know what I mean? Like with the Earth Shakes, the only thing that I've ever done apparently, I like. Like at the time I put it out and I was like, dope, this is my shit. And now I'm like, I look back at that and I can point out to you, I could probably list off to you off the top of my head like everything that I don't like about it, because I've looked at it so many times and it's almost like I'm like obsessed with those imperfections. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know why I started talking, but yeah.
No, I understand. Like yourself, your own critic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess from my perspective, I've done like a lot of projects where I mean, like obviously, like you have to grow. Like everyone, you know, I guess you do one thing. If you don't like it, you take what you do like. And you'll just kind of adapt what you didn't like and add it on to the next one. You know, I've worked on so many projects where like I've done it and I release it and it's out for like half a year and I'm like, oh my god, this fucking sucks. I take it down. You know, like I just keep on kind of getting in that pattern. And even like now, like the album I'm working on now, I get so kind of caught up in like the most minuscule details because I like realistically like. And like somebody listening is never going to like register that that's not what I intended, but because I'm telling it, I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna hear it, they're gonna think I'm like some punk, you know, like I don't. Sometimes that shit is just so hard to like let go of, and I guess your whole thing of accepting that, you know, it is what it is sometimes is like super powerful. That I think sometimes all artists kind of need to.
Yeah.
Get head out of their ass sometimes and just be like, look, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah. Everybody, I feel like you're your own critic. Especially like art is definitely like a coping mechanism for a lot of people, which is like it's a good outlet. Like when you're feeling frustrated, like it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's photography, music, film, all the arts really, they're kind of like outlets for people. And sometimes you, like you said, you do get in your head and you're your own critic, but like it's important to just realize that you're doing your best and you're doing this for yourself, so there's nothing to stress about. I don't know.
I think there's also something to say about the fact that like we're 17 and like we're not like I'm not like Tarantino or some shit, you know, like it like I think there's something to say about all artists are learning always, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And like that imperfection is just part of the process. Like I can't recall a single film that has been perfect that I've watched, or like a single play or a single song I've listened to or a single photo I've seen that's like that checks all the marks. So like I feel like as like artists, a lot of us put that pressure on ourselves that we need to check all the marks, and there's something about, you know, the imperfection is a part of my art, like you're saying with film and wabi sabi, like the imperfection is an inherent part of it that's really powerful.
Yeah, it's all about the journey.
Yeah,
like it's you perfection is never paused, like it's never going to be achieved in any medium. It's all about like the journey and what you can make out of it, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, and like obviously imperfection doesn't mean just like putting out crap, you know, but like kind of being okay with it existing how it is and trying to make it something that either it's not or something that it like can't be. And I think so many times we try to ooh, look who's that. But like so many times we try to force, you know, ourselves or our art to, you know, be like somebody else, be like this thing, and it's like, no, like that's not what this is. Like you can try and Frankenstein it all you want, but like it kind of has to exist the way you made it, because that's your own, that's your truth. That's the only way it'll just like exist righteously, you know.
Yeah, that sounds like a really interesting conversation.
Did you get back from doing your chores, Matthew?
Yes,
how many ditches do you have to do, bro, at 4 p.m.? God.
Well, it's because we made a goof last night and didn't do them. So
just do them tonight.
Huh?
So you're like,
well,
you're like, oh, I'm doing a podcast. Let me just.
Yeah. Well, apparently someone's coming at like 5:30, so they need the kitchen.
Do we have to wrap it up at 5:30?
No. It's just
you left once. You can leave again.
I was like, clearly, our time matters very little to you, Matthew.
Hey, I'm sorry.
We have a special guest. I mean, we're talking about deep things and what you're gonna do some fucking dishes.
Yeah, I got kind of deep.
Listen, I can talk about some deep things. Have you heard about the Marianas Trench? That's all I'm saying.
Bro?
A funny joke, you just didn't get it.
I feel like we do this once an episode.
Yeah. We didn't do it with Steven because he didn't say anything.
Yikes. I thought you guys were talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess you gotta talk about it now, huh?
Not really.
How was that show? I heard great things.
So your photography.
Yeah.
Is this thing on?
Fucking go do your dishes again, dog. God, your internet crashes. You leave to do your chores, and now this.
Oh, you act like...
What are you hell-bent on tearing the podcast down from its 3 listeners?
Yeah. I think I'm one of those, actually.
We're gonna go down to 2. Then what?
Oh, shit.
Oh, that's a good point.
Heard of the audience, bro.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
Oh, my fucking God. Oh, God.
Anyways.
All right.
After that detour... in the conversation. How do we get back from this? Is this it? Is the podcast cursed forever?
No.
Find out next
Photography.
time. Or not.
How has the community support been for you? Like, when you started up your Instagram page, how has I don't know, I talk about this with Baneet Singh, other theater boy.
Oh yeah, you told me about him.
Yeah, I talked about this with him. Where like in our community, in the Sikh community, it seems like there's been a bigger focus around building up artists recently. So I just wanted to know, like, from your perspective, how do you see that support? Have you seen some of that support when you started up Chaatrik?
I mean, definitely in our community, there's been a huge push of South Asian like artists over like in a variety of fields, whether that's like poetry or even with organizations that like me and Japteja know, like Roots Gear and like Turban Inc., like all these like South Asian like based companies are starting up and that are just creative outlets. Like we never had that before, so it's kind of cool to see like the direction that like the South Asian community is going and that like how they're embracing all this. Like especially you guys probably don't know this, but I know Japteja does like a bunch of poets like what's her name?
Jasmine God.
Yeah, like her and Rupi Kaur and like all these like South Asian like poets are like breaking into the mainstream, which is like it's cool to see. So in terms of like community support, like yeah, of course I've seen that. Like of course, like I got a lot of boys like all over like the country, so like they're always like reposting my shit and like that's nice. So I've seen that sort of support and. I mean, it's been cool, like, but like in terms of like outside my friend group, I haven't seen too much support, but that's because like I haven't done anything like I guess noteworthy that can like reach that huge. Like I don't have that large of an audience. I kind of just focus on like what I have. So I don't really. I guess if I did expand, I would definitely see more of that South Asian like appreciation. But currently, since I'm like small, not many people really know about what I do. So that's why I haven't seen it. But it's definitely like on the South Asian like artists and art is definitely on the rise, which I love to see.
Yeah. That's so interesting. My ex-girlfriend used to read like Rupi Kaur like poems all the time. And like one time we was just like reading it and I was like, hey baby, like what are you reading? And I looked at it, it was like the poem about like pussies. like you know what I'm talking about? You have what I'm talking about.
I've not read it, bro. I've not read it.
Just to make sure I'm like not putting my foot in my mouth. She's the one who like wrote the book
Milk
that's
and
like
honey, right?
Milk and Honey or something like that. Yeah, that's definitely the right person. There's definitely like many poems about pussies, which is fine.
I repeat,
but like, I was like, oh, heck yeah. I think Joe, I saw something on your page of just like Southern Asian artist kind of supporting like the Black Lives Matter movement.
I was just in that meeting. Cool. We had like a it's Tarina, if I know Sahib, you know her. She's dope, dude. She's
crazy.
Going to like Harvard.
Yeah.
She's going to like Harvard. She's doing all this like cool shit. And she hit me up one day and she's like, yo, I want to do like a town hall meeting about like Black Lives Matter and like our place as allies in the South Asian community. I was like, yeah, like dope. So yeah, we planned that whole thing and then I was late to it and then I had to leave early because of this. So like, but yeah, it was, that whole thing was really interesting too. There's a big like familial sense, I think, in the Punjabi community especially.
For sure.
This thing that I absolutely love, like it geeks my shit every time, is like you go into public and then you see another like Punjabi family and then you do like the nod or you do like a.
Oh my god, you
have to do. You have to do like a shy thing. Like
that's so funny.
I saw a Punjabi family at Costco yesterday, and then I did like this whole number because like I live in a very white community, so like I don't see Punjabi families all that often. So I was like circling around this fucking medicine aisle, and I didn't even need medicine, but like I saw them there, so I was like, "Yo, notice me? Let me hit you with the fucking and let me dip."
That's so funny. No, but I think obviously, you know, Black Lives Matter is such a onion of an issue, and there's so many things to like unpack. But like, especially with this, it's about, you know, disenfranchised groups getting their voice heard. You know,
minority.
It starts with Black people, obviously, like, you know, with the whole issue, but you know, it has to expand to, you know, Asians and Hispanics. Like it's everybody. I mean, you were just talking. You were like all these South Asian artists, and I was like, that's not like a demographic that is represented or even kind of like talked about, you know. And I'm so glad that's kind of where the conversation is heading, you know.
For sure.
Definitely.
And we're seeing more South Asian artists kind of bumping it up into the mainstream. I mean, you talked about Ubi God, but then you also got, I mean, not a part of the Punjabi community specifically, but just South Asian in general, like Kumail Nanjiani, Hassan Minhaj.
Hassan Minhaj, yeah.
Like there's definitely like a bigger shift to get not just South Asian but Asian artists in general. I feel like are very underrepresented. But I think it's good that we're having that conversation.
Yeah, it's definitely different from like a couple years ago when this was the last thing people thought about, and seeing it all brought to the forefront now.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So what's next? We're let's do a huge 180 here.
There's a lot of different things.
Yeah, there's a lot of different topics. How'd you get into? You're a big film boy, not film in terms of photography, but film in terms of the movies.
Yeah.
So how did you first kind of get into that? You're big on like art house indie films, right? Like A24.
Sure, like A24, one of my like top like movie producing.
Yeah. So
things.
how did you sort of delve into that world?
I'll be honest, I've been watching movies like my whole life and like really watching them. Not like, oh hey, like a Marvel movie, like this is dope, but like actually like having discussions about movies for like a long time as I can remember. Like I don't have like a point where I'm like, this is like, I love this medium, but I've always enjoyed it because I feel like there's movies have like a unique way of telling a story you can't really get in any form of any sort of media. That's why you see like games nowadays, like these huge narrative driven games like The Last of Us, they're all like having these huge cinematic set pieces and like becoming more like movies because the medium of movies has such like so much to say. It's such a unique way of telling a story.
Yeah.
And I've always loved that.
What are some things you're watching right now?
No, we'll get to that later, man. I want to do like
I watched a movie. Oh my god, it's like one of the best movies I've seen.
I want to make it. I want to try to be more like segmented. You know what I mean? And I want to do like the section in the end where we just talk about shit that we've been watching and listening to and doing and playing.
Straight up.
Actually,
I have a question.
What's up?
Disregard.
What would be? I guess this can be for all of us. What would be like the first movie that you watched and actually like, I guess, kind of like analyzed or actually thought deeper about?
My god, dude, I have no idea. But there, I mean, I can list off a lot of movies, but that can be the first one. But
what would you say? I guess to kind of rephrase it so it's easier to answer. I guess. What's one that's had like a big like impact on you? One that's like kind of pushed you more towards being film boy?
I guess there's so many movies, but what's been on my mind for a while is a movie I watched recently. Like, there's a lot of movies I can say, but one movie that just keeps coming up in my head is one I actually watched recently, Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's a movie that's about, like, 18th century, like, France. And it's like a love story, but, like, it's so much deeper than that. It's shot in 8K, first of all, which is, like, crazy, right? It's like the colors like pop. It's ridiculous. I've never seen a clearer movie in my life. But anyway, besides that, like, there's so much deeper meaning. Like, there was not much dialogue. There was just like a lot of just like deep like stares and like gazes. Like, it's weird, but like just like through looks, like it told a story, which just shows that like this whole medium, it's not about like it's not about like having the craziest sets, like explosions like Transformers, or like having something crazy on the screen. It's more about like same thing as photography. It's about the substance. Like, what are you trying to convey? Like, what is your narrative? What's the story? And there's a bunch of movies, like, you off the top of my head, like mid-90s, Lady Bird, a bunch of movies, The Grand Budapest Hotel, like so many movies that the focus is the narrative, and that's what makes a movie great. It's not about like the pop, and just like photography, it's not about like the crazy, like editing, oversaturated shit you can do. It's about like what is it actually when it comes down to it. Yeah.
KJ, what about you, bro? What's a movie that kind of speaks to you, something that has like a special place in your heart?
Who are you talking to?
KJ. I mean, anyway, like, I assumed all of us were going to answer this question.
Like first movie that like made me like truly appreciate film, or like
not necessarily the first
movie,
movie, but just a movie or a set of movies that's had an impact on you that made you appreciate the medium for more than just, you know, the blockbuster hits that we see.
Matt, take my spot. Come back.
All
to
right,
me.
I'm gonna sound like a basic ass white bitch, but like The Dark Knight. I kind of say that because it's like, especially with like Batman, it's such more like a pop icon, especially even in 2007. You know, I mean, and Christopher Nolan was able to take it and kind of take it way more of a realistic and serious path, and it kind of shows that even if the premise is kind of silly, you know, a man dressed up in a bat costume beating up a clown, you know, it can have actual possible deeper meaning and actual like serious tones. And I think that's just something that's pretty great about the media in general. All right, KJ.
KJ, I'm gonna assume you're still thinking, so I'm gonna go. I had to pull up my letterbox for this because I have so many movies like running around in my mind, and even looking at this, there's just so many more. I mean, like, I'm looking at like Midsummer, The Lobster, Parasite, Lady Bird, Uncut Gems, The Eyes of My Mother, which is like this. It's not a Spanish film. It's like this film shot in like all black and white, and there's very little dialogue throughout it, but it's so like poignant. It's just things like that, like kind of like where you were saying, where the narrative, the themes surpass the spectacle. You know what I mean? And in some cases, it creates its own spectacle. So like one of the like things that I think pushes people towards like art house film is like cinematography. Like, people really are drawn to like these shots and what they mean, and like I think that comes when you get that greater narrative down first. So I think the first film that I watched that like fucked me up and made me realize how much impact film can have is Midsummer.
Oh my god!
I tell people this every time I talk about Midsummer, but I was laying on my couch watching it, and I had like my laptop just there, and there's this one scene that if you've seen Midsummer, you know the scene, but I was like, literally, I was like writhing around on my couch, like pulling my own hair and shit, just like wincing. because I had no idea what the fuck was happening, and it made me feel so uncomfortable. And I was like, nothing has ever made me feel like that, but watching some fucking movie about this girl made me feel that way. So like that's kind of what made me realize like how much power is in film.
The emotions film can convey, there's no other medium that can convey it like film does.
Also, Uncut Gems and the Safdie brothers are so good. Uncut Gems,
Oh my God.
and they also made a Good Time with Robert Pattinson. I think both of those are on Netflix now. I love the way that they fuck with film.
They like override like your
Yeah.
like, especially with Uncut Gems. Like, I've never had a movie like attack me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like there was so much like sensory like flashes and
Yeah.
sounds, like, and it was constant.
It's
the whole
almost
movie.
like they like. I love the way that they do it. They like corrupt your expectation of film. Like the main character is not likable at all in both of those movies. But you're still he's such an asshole. But you're rooting for him and like you care about him. And then you also start to think maybe he's not such a piece of shit. He's just like some guy. But it's so I love Uncut Gems and I love Good Time. Watch both.
Film has like such a can convey so much emotion and have a lot to say. Like what's like actually going in my head right now is mid-90s. Have you guys all seen mid-90s? Yeah. Okay. So there's that one scene that where his brother is beating him up, right? And then afterwards, like he's like he was sleeping, and his brother just comes in and just beats the shit out of him in the middle of the night, and he was like so like, I don't know what to do, and then he tries to kill himself, right? And that was just like, when I saw that, I was like, did not expect that. And like I was watching with one of my friends, and like after that happened, like while that was happening and afterwards, like there was like a silence. Like it was like the whole tone and the mood in the room like just completely changed, and we were both just like could not speak. And that just speaks to the power of film, that only film can do that. It changes the mood just like that, and makes you think and takes you to places you don't want to go, but that's the medium.
We talk about this a lot in performative art, but like the air in the room is almost a part of it. Like again, theater boy, when you're doing a show, there is, if it's a good show, there's a moment where you have everyone hooked and everyone's listening, like really listening to what you have to say, and everyone's engaged, and you can feel it in the air. Like it's so strange how art can do that, but like you can, like you just know something about the room is different. And I think film has such a strong ability to do that, if you do it right. You know, like film is such a powerful medium that I think people overlook a lot because of the big blockbusters. And it's almost like we watched that one film by Cutco, the one film by Cutco, and it made me like so angry that they made this 2-hour propaganda ad for this fucking company.
Wait, hold on. It was 2 hours?
It was basically 2 hours.
I watched part of it, bro. I was disgusted.
We didn't watch all 2 hours,
Disgusting.
but it made me so mad because it's such a like, it's disrespectful to the art form. Like when you have the people that made something like The Eyes of My Mother, who have something so powerful and emotional and personal and visceral to say, and then you corrupt that medium by then being like, let me make this fucking $5 movie that's 2 hours and it's gonna get us clout. Like I feel like it's doing a disservice to film to make one without saying something.
Yeah, definitely.
KJ, what you got, bro?
Yeah, you got it, bro.
You know, even kind of just in thinking about it, I can't really like pinpoint one film. I can just kind of always think about movies that have definitely like affected me. I guess if you want to go back like Wait. Yeah, the first film I remember seeing is like The Lion King. So that shit is always kind of a part of me. It's just so iconic. I think Lion King is a part of everyone's life, and if it's not, like, what are you doing? In middle school, I went through like a big like Kevin Smith phase. Watched a lot of like Clerks and like Chasing Amy and like Jay and Silent Bob and like like his his bro, help me, what's the word? His whatever. His films are like, you know, very all over the place in quality. But I went through a really big Kevin Smith phase, Spike Lee, let's see, Do the Right Thing, Black Klansman, like really like
such a good movie.
Was so good. He just put out Da 5 Bloods on Netflix.
I need to watch
I
that. Oh
still
my
haven't
god.
seen it. I haven't watched a movie in so long.
Delroy Lindo's performance in that movie makes it alone. Let's see, what else? Obviously, like Quentin Tarantino, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, Django. You know, I feel like this. I feel like I don't have anything of something to say, but like, there's definitely like everyone has those movies that have been like hit them to their core, kind of made them who they are today. Almost Famous, Cameron Crowe. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys. Scorsese said that thing about Marvel.
Yeah.
You guys already know where I'm going with this. Marvel movies, you don't. He said this
I
thing
don't
where
know what you're
Marvel, Disney, DC, those kinds of movies.
That's it.
Yeah. They're more like amusement parks and theme parks than they are film. And then he kind of he elaborated a bit in like this director's circle video where he talks about like, okay, he said they're not cinema. That's what he said. He said Marvel and DC, like, those movies are not cinema, but like the rest of the shit is. And then he talked about in the director's circle that he feels watching a Marvel movie, watching some shit like Avengers, is more of an amusement park or theme park than like a visceral experience, which is what he believes film should be. So I wanted to know what you guys thought about that, because if I'm not wrong, all of us are at least like Star Wars fans, like Marvel, DC. We got some sort of that Disney shit in us. So
I think that's just like fucking bullshit. I the way he said it just seems super film snobby, like, oh, it's not cinema, like, oh, because it didn't make you like feel this sort of emotion. I remember the first time I saw Avengers, like that one circle scene. Tell me, like, when you said that didn't just like make you feel like a kid, you know, like you could even just talk about, you know, Black Panther's Oscar nomination, Joker's win for like Joaquin. Like, these films, obviously, when they have other things to say, they're so powerful. You know, that's one part of the conversation. But you can even just talk about like just the event films. You know, like Endgame is such an event movie, and to just like discredit it altogether, I think it's so disrespectful to so many actors and writers and directors and so many people who trying to make this thing a reality. That just to be like, yeah, your shit's not up to par, I think is so just like uncool. And like that was like the whole. I think James Cameron said some shit like that too. But like,
but James Cameron's kind of a prick.
Like, seriously,
like Scorsese's got some
like,
shit to say. James Cameron's just kind of a piece of shit.
Bro, shut up, bro. Literally, Avatar, suck my dick. I'm sorry.
He's making 5 of them.
He's making 5, and he filmed them all back to back. But like, bro, who cares about Avatar? Avatar came out in what, 2010? It came out in December. There was a blizzard. Everybody wanted to escape. It made $1 billion. The movie came out literally 10 years ago. like no one gives a shit about Avatar. Love Avatar. Don't get me wrong. I think it's really cool for what it did.
Okay.
But like,
it's alright. No,
I'm
but
gonna be honest. Oh wait, no, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of. I think we can all agree that one of the major goals of cinema is to release explicit emotions almost in you. And I mean, you may not agree with, I guess, the emotions that like Avenger films are eliciting, but you know, if one of the goals is to get that emotion out of you, I think all of the Marvel movies do a pretty good job at that. If the emotion is at least excitement/joy, just because something's not bogged down in depression does not make it a bad cinematic film.
True.
And I think what the Avengers films show is that you can kind of tell a character arc over a series of films than just one or two, with the whole character of Iron Man, really. So I mean, I think Robert Downey Jr.'s performance is quite good. I think the story of Iron Man is quite good, even though Iron Man 2 exists. Yeah.
Iron Man 2 is not bad. I like Iron Man 2 over Iron Man 3. I don't give a shit.
No, that's just incorrect.
Over Iron Man 3? No, that's right.
No.
That is.
I way prefer Iron Man 3. I'm going to be honest.
Iron Man 3 is so. Ugh.
Okay, there were some cringy moments with the kid, and.
Yuck!
It also doesn't make sense at the end.
I kind of agree with Scorsese. I think.
Whoa.
Whoa.
What?
Thank you.
Whoa.
I think he has a point in saying that, like, okay, he's not. I don't think he's discrediting them as being movies, but I think there's something a lot more personal with cinema, and I think there's a difference. I think he's making that distinction. So it's like, I don't know. I watched the director's table a while ago, so I don't remember exactly what he said, but like my own opinion, obviously I think there's enjoyment to be had, and I think there's substance with some of those Marvel movies. I love them. Like I keep up to date. But I think there should be a distinction between something like that and then something like, I don't know, name a movie, Lady Bird. Like, not just genre-wise, but even in terms of the art form. Like, I kind of agreed with him saying, like, it's sort of like a theme park. Where it's like, yeah, like you got all these people that are super excited about it. It's a fun adventure, and yeah, there's something a little bit deeper to it. Just like with theme parks, like thinking about theme parks, you think about the general sort of themes, I guess, of like nostalgia, wonder, all that kind of shit. I think there's a place for those Avengers style films, but I think when you're talking about cinema, you know it when you see it, and it's something a lot more visceral, and it's something a lot more personal.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there is a difference between, like, I guess you could say, personal and like character study type films, right? And big blockbuster movies like Avengers. But I mean, I feel like you can't. I don't agree with you necessarily, because I feel like film is always open to interpretation, and just because you don't find the meaning as deep doesn't mean like there is. What I'm trying to say is that like film is I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Like film is, oh my god, I don't know how to word this. Okay, film in general as an art form is beautiful. That's what it comes down to. So just because it's not like a character study type film doesn't mean that like it's any less valid. Like I agree that there is a distinction, but there's different interpretations. Like I had and thought what I was gonna say, but I completely just forgot it. But what I'm trying to say is like I feel like they're not less valid just because they're not focused. Like they still have something to say. Like as long as a film has something to say, I feel like it's valid. Like sure, like character studies films might like go more deeper into it, but movies like Avengers also have something to say. It's like, for example, you could say like Avengers like banding together and like overcoming like odds that are like impossible, and so you could say like, oh yeah, there you go, there's a deeper meaning in that. And I just feel like one thing. Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna end it there, bro. I don't know what I'm saying.
I think the I'm gonna also have to respectfully disagree. And I think the argument you're kind of making kind of falls down the same line of just kind of dismissing cartoons as just kids shows. When a lot of cartoons do have a lot of deeper things to say. maybe not like Bob the Builder, but things like Regular Show, Adventure Time, a personal favorite of mine, The Clone Wars, Avatar. They all have very deeper meanings, but they kind of almost mask it in that cartoon style because it's more, I guess, digestible. So just because it's not like as Sahib said, it's not like a character study doesn't mean there's not like deeper themes within these more in films like Avengers and stuff.
Yeah, you said what I was trying to say.
Yeah. I was just expanding.
Yeah. So one thing, okay, but I'll try to bring it back to. So what I really like about like A24 movies or these like character study type movies per se is the fact that like they're okay with just existing. Like an example of this that I can bring up that you guys all know is the mid 90s, the party scene, right? When it was the one take scene in the house, and they like kept the camera on the cast, and they like took it all the way through the house, and it was one scene. And what I mean by like these types of movies are okay with just existing is that they're okay with not having any pizzazz or anything that like these big blockbuster films have, like explosions or anything. They're okay with just having the camera sit there and be like, here's the story, like take it or leave it, like that, this is what it is. And that's the main thing that I love about film in general, is that people are free to make meaning out of anything. Like you can interpret it in any way you want, and that's what I love about film. The fact that you can keep a camera just sitting there for like 3 minutes, and a person can have a different opinion from somebody else. Like, oh wait, no, that means this, or wait, that means that, and just that dialogue it opens and interpretation is like what I love about film.
Kind of like a Florida Project or a Ghost Story. If you guys have seen either of those. Florida Project. So let's talk about that. Like, that's another one of those examples of it's just okay being what it is. And I think I think also kind of what I was trying to say with the cinema thing is like there's a love for the art form that comes with these kinds of films. Like there's a very clear intent in each and every decision, from the costumes to the lighting to the sound design to the cinematography, where I feel like a lot of times with the blockbuster ones, that kind of overhead producer type thing, I don't know, I feel like it starts to almost ruin the art form. I mean, as we've seen it with like DC, like the biggest problem, or even with the new line of Star Wars movies, the big problem that we had there was like producer overhead, where it's like they're more worried about let's make this money, let's bring an audience, than let's tell the story we want to tell. And I feel like with films like a Florida Project and mid-90s, it's like concentrated meaning. Like it's all about the story that you want to tell, and it's 100%. Every aspect of the filmmaking is there to boost that meaning forward.
But I guess the thing about that is like those films are, small budget, small cast. Like they're able to just, they're able to do smaller things. But like for, episode like 8, for example, it's very much. It's part of the Disney Star Wars, so it has to be like a 4-quadrant film. It has to bring in new fans while still kind of pleasing old fans, which it didn't really do. But there's just more writing on big kind of studio films, just because at the end of the day it is a business. So like I feel like there's more at play with those films, where like an A24 film, they kind of allowed their filmmakers to tell the story they want to tell. And they'll push it for awards. I guess like you also talk about like Neon, with like I think Neon did like was Neon I, Tonya, or like
I don't know.
I don't remember.
The
like,
director,
or like no the distribution company.
Oh, I don't know.
Production
Let me fact check you.
You know, like, or like, I think it was iTiny, but like they do a lot of like those films, and like they can have it small, and the way they get their buzz is through like awards notoriety. So you know, as if they don't have to get those 4 quadrants, because if they get the awards, then the money will just kind of push itself. You know what I'm saying? They're just they need to serve different purposes. So I think it's unfair to kind of hold them on the same field, or to be like discredit one over the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like the purpose of film is to get the viewer to be invested in the story, invested in the characters, right? So whether it's something like Lady Bird or it's an Avengers film, the point is to get you invested in it, right? So you can't say that they're not, like, Avengers is not an impactful story, because it still is an impactful story. It got you invested in it, and that's why the costumes design budget might be smaller for these smaller indie films, but it's still getting the same message. I feel like even with these big Avengers, they're still making you believe in the world. They're still making you invested in these characters, which is why I'm saying that I don't think Avengers is any less valid. Just because you're still invested in it, it still has something to say. That's the purpose of film, having something to say.
I didn't mean to like question the validity of it, but just in terms of like making that distinction, you know, between like what is cinema versus what is a movie.
Well, I think that's a little. It's
like,
a little
is
flawed
there a
because I mean,
should there be a difference? That question.
Yeah, because I mean, like we can look at very successful, even big budget films that are, I would consider more cinematic than, let's say, like Avengers, and that's like Joker. You know, that was the first R-rated film to ever make $1 billion. You know, and it had a decent sized budget, but I mean, most people would consider, I mean, at least more artsy than your average superhero film.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little flawed to say that since something has a big budget, it's less cinematic. Now, I do agree that producers are a bitch.
Kathleen Kennedy, we don't support her here at the Zero Budget Podcast.
Thank God her contract is not being renewed.
Oh, it isn't? Hell yeah.
No. She's not coming back, I don't think.
We win.
We win. We officially won. But I think, and it's also, is it really like the movie's fault, or is that really just, you know, capitalism at work again?
Yeah, and I don't like the discussion was in the context of like the Scorsese quote. He was having that discussion with like Todd Phillips, like after the Joker, after he directed Joker. So I don't think the context of that was like necessarily just because it's superhero, just because it's big budget, it's not cinema. But I think his point was more so like, you know, cinema when you see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like from that first shot, he said, like I'm pretty sure he said from that first shot, you know, like what you're about to go into is something more personal.
So what we've done is go in a circle, because
pretty much
either I mean film is up to interpretation.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, so AMC.
Fuck. Oh, fuck.
I'm not sure how many you saw.
I actually didn't hear about it.
Yeah. So Matt, you can talk about this.
So admittedly, I didn't read much of the article, but I'm pretty sure it's all in the headline. Basically, AMC is not going to be enforcing a mask policy when they reopen soon in some states. Yikes. And I'm not to flex, but I do have some experience working in a movie theater.
That doesn't count. Marquee does not count.
Oh, big shot.
Honestly, no, this would be way more of an issue at Marquee than would probably be at most AMCs, because most AMCs at least have those recliner seats now, so there's a lot more space in between. Marquee did not have those seats, so this would be even more dangerous for them. But I guess it's their line of logic is the same as most restaurants, where it would be difficult to enjoy your food when you have a mask over your face, which is fair, but also
just don't get
COVID. Yeah. Well, even then, like, it's not like it's like a constant meal, like with popcorn, you know? You take a handful, you put it in, right? You chew. You can wait a few seconds, you know?
Matt, what do you do after you chew?
Fuck.
Where do you go from there?
Swallow? Is that,
That can't be it.
is that not the answer?
What do I do after I chew?
Yeah. You said you take a handful, you put it in, you chew. What next?
I'm
You
asking
swallow,
Siri,
you dumb
God.
bitch.
I'm actually seeing right now that AMC theaters reversed the decision. Now they're requiring face masks. Like, I see it.
Probably got goofed.
Like after a lot of backlash, they're saying, "Yeah, you need to wear masks." So,
Dude, AMC's
that's
just
wild.
been AMC's been
AMC is-
wilding out recently.
Yeah, they're like, no more Universal films. Canceled.
Because they're fucking
need a mask.
bankrupt. AMC's
Well-
literally fucking bankrupt.
Yeah, did you guys hear about like how all these major like movie theater chains are like going under? Like all of them
Yeah.
are going under right now.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, like how like I actually researched this a little bit. Like how it works is a movie gets played at the theater, but for the first 2 weeks, the makers of the movie get all the profit.
Yes.
Oh,
And then after that, then the movie theater gets money, which is like, dude, who sees a movie after 2 weeks of
Yeah.
it being released, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's not that many people. So already, like, movie theaters
It's
are
a bad
getting
business
the
system.
the bad end of the stick, and that's actually the reason why things like popcorn and drinks are so expensive, because they have to make their money in like some way, right?
Yeah,
And all these big ones are going under. It's just crazy right now.
Did you
When
guys
I-
see that article about they might be partnering up? Like a lot of these bigger things might be partnering up with like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, in sort of the same way that. Did you guys see that Amazon grocery store, where it's like
Yeah.
literally you walk in, you get your shit, you leave, and it just automatically charges your card?
Yeah.
They were thinking there's like this thing going around that AMC might partner up with Amazon or Netflix and kind of offer that same sort of thing where it's almost like a subscription service, sort of like Movie Pass
In-person movies for
in-person movies. Like you go there and then that'll also have Netflix playing some of their movies there too.
That'd be dope.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
I when it comes to the 2 week thing, funny enough, actually, when I worked at Marquee, we had we had perks, and one of those perks is being able to see a free movie and bring a person each week. But there was one caveat, and that was actually that 2 week rule. We weren't allowed to see new movies within the first 2 weeks. I actually didn't know for the longest time why, but I guess I just learned.
Yeah.
Because production studios very greedy.
I just realized I still have my Cinemark like subscription. Like I never canceled it. It's like $7.99 and you get like a free movie every month and like 20% off like all popcorn and drinks.
Yeah,
like it's
you
pretty good. Like it's a good deal. But like I never canceled it, so oops.
Oops.
Yeah, it says Amazon is interested in acquiring AMC. Should I share my screen?
Oh.
I could share my screen. Turn on
Of
screen.
course, Amazon will. Fucking Jeff Bezos.
Okay, it's not letting me
Never
share my
mind.
screen, so I'm just gonna look at this article and then read it to you. How would it look though? It says if Apple, Netflix, or Amazon owned a theater chain, the company would make money no matter where consumers decided to watch their movies. Which I guess
Interesting.
makes sense. Amazon could apply its Whole Foods model to a theater chain. An Amazon Prime subscription that includes trips to movie theaters could complement its streaming service. They like, oh yeah, it says like maybe they charge you like another $100 a year for Prime, but then you get like all you can watch movies. So sort of like the Cinemark or Movie Pass or AMC I think has one now too. I think subscription services are starting to take over.
It's been like
Yeah.
that ever since
Yeah.
Netflix came out, dude. Everybody's just been
Not
going
just
towards
subscriptions of
subscription.
movies though, but like everything has a subscription service now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
like,
reward cards have always been a thing, though. I mean, especially with like grocery stores, and like big box markets.
yeah, subscription services are the new cable. Like that's
Yeah.
that's all it is
I
now.
mean,
It's just
My
cable.
parents don't even have cable anymore. They just pay for internet and then just have all like their accounts.
But they pay
That's
like
smart.
just as much
Yeah.
now as
Yeah.
cable.
If you have-
all these Hulu, Netflix,
If you have the
HBO,
big few, if you have Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, HBO, you're set. Like you don't need anything.
Yeah, but like you're paying just as much, so
Yeah.
it's stupid.
Yeah.
Like the whole point was to get away from like paying insane prices at cable. Like remember when Netflix first came out, everything was on it, but then it got fragmented and now it's like all over the place, just like cable.
And like honestly, these companies are kind of getting fucked right now because like for Disney Plus example, they aren't even going to be profitable for like the next like 5 years. So
You know Disney
they can
doesn't
have
care.
yeah.
Disney's
Yeah,
like,
like
fuck
they-
it.
I mean, basically, I'm like, you can put out there like Mandalorian, you can put all these things, you know, a lot of people got their thing where it's like you get Disney Plus like free for the first like year or some shit like that, or you buy it, you buy the subscription for like a long amount of time, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
So like, a lot of people did that from the, like out the cut. So there's not too many people who are constantly putting money into the thing.
Sahib.
And like HBO Max, yeah, bro.
Sahib.
Yeah, my foot hit the camera. Like, give me a second.
We
I
can
thought you
all
were
see your
doing
profile
dishes.
picture, bro.
Yeah,
Funny.
it's like
Coconut head, bro, come on.
Coconut head, yeah,
I
from
told you,
that-
bro, come on, dude.
no, I knew, I know.
Anyway.
Nah, but like HBO Max, for example, like they were like, ooh, Snyder cut, and like no one's fucking signed up for HBO Max. Ooh, Friends reunion. They hadn't even fucking filmed the Friends reunion. Like they're not getting subscribers.
I think
Another
Disney,
time, what were you saying?
I think Disney Plus is a little different because it's Disney. That's why.
Yeah.
Like people are going to watch Disney related things regardless if it's new or not, you know? Because I mean, it has every Disney film, like Disney, even the live action ones that no one remembers.
Yeah.
But not even every film. Not even every film though. Like some films are not on there.
Yeah, like the
Because
song
they're still
itself.
on Netflix.
But I mean, like it has a good portion of Star Wars things. I mean, it has a lot of Marvel things. You know,
Yeah.
it has
Did Mulan
National
ever come
Geographic.
out? Like, I was trying to look to watch Mulan. Did it ever come out? Or
The live
like,
action
Oh shit, they pushed it
yeah,
back.
yeah.
They pushed
They
it
pushed
back.
They pushed it back?
Like
Oh,
July.
I think
Did they ever push
HBO
back
Max was
Soul?
like, I think HBO Max was sort of like the straw that broke the camel's back. Because like when HBO Max came out, I think a bunch of people were like, "Fuck this shit, bro! Like I'm done with these streaming services."
They're like,
I
what
mean,
is-
if you already have HBO, you basically get HBO Max
Yeah.
like rolled into your subscription. So
how many people here actually still have cable in their house?
I still have cable. I don't know why. I don't know why we're still paying for cable.
I kind of convinced my parents to get rid of it because when I started like getting more into like actual like gaming, all I cared about was just having an internet connection. I didn't even like care about like TV. So I was like, why are you guys paying when you can just like get an internet connection and like
And a good
Netflix?
internet connection too.
Yeah.
like you
And, like,
take
a
the
much
money
better
from-
internet
Mine is so ass, dude. Cox is like terrible, bro. I have the worst
Yo, get
upload and
Fios.
download.
Fios is so sick. You
Uh,
like I feel like, dude, we stopped paying for cable. Take that money, pump it into the internet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Basically.
Crazy internet speeds, bro.
Remember when Google Fiber came out? Like that was like fiber
the
connections
shit.
were like
Yeah.
the shit, but like it never expanded.
Yeah.
So we're all just like, bro, where'd it go? Yo, this was like a decade ago,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, but,
you mentioned gaming. Do we want to
Oh,
get
I-
into gaming?
Segue into that. I don't
Segue? Is that a good
Oh
segue,
wow,
guys?
good segue, good segue.
Did I do it?
I think that's the right
You
way.
did it,
Did I do the shit?
but you ruined it by bringing it up.
Did the
Um,
shit.
So gaming, big gaming news in the past week. PS5 was
fair.
unveiled. Xbox exists too.
Did they? I don't think they had any. Like they didn't.
I don't
post,
think they did
like
anything.
anything. It
I don't
looks
think.
like.
I think they just like
or
posted a
anything like
picture
that.
and said, "Here you go."
Yeah.
Wait, they shared the picture.
Yeah.
No,
I
the
haven't
Xbox-
seen it.
yeah.
the Series X has been
So the
out for a while now.
Xbox looks like a mini fridge.
I have not seen it.
Look up Xbox Series X. It's just this fucking box.
I prefer the Xbox.
Oh, okay. It's like a minimalist type.
That's what I'm
Design.
saying.
No, it's just
I
a
prefer
box.
I prefer
And then the
Series
PS5.
X.
Yo, minimalism.
Okay, but think
Say-
about it like this. Okay, the PS5 is bigger, just like in size wise, and it has that goofy ass design.
Nah,
So if it
they're both.
I don't know if it's goofy, bro. Come on, it looks like an alien with a laptop. It's kind of sexy, bro.
Hold on,
I'm not
hold on.
gonna, bro. Like I'd fuck it, bro. I don't know.
wait, hold on.
Whoa! We are not just gonna slot past that comment.
As a
Would you like to?
well, like if we're thinking about like
Did I say
shelf,
something?
The PS5 is like, no, please.
if we're thinking about like shelf space, right? You know,
This
the
smile.
I'm geek.
if we're talking about shelf space, right? Like
Yeah.
it takes up so much shelf space. When the Xbox, it's literally just a square, so it fits perfectly. You know, it won't take that much room. Just put it in the corner.
I feel like
you
they're
know?
both huge. Like I'm good.
Dude, yeah, they're fat, bro.
I want
They're so fat.
and the thing, the PS5 doesn't look like it's gonna have a horizontal option or a black.
Oh, it does.
option.
I actually saw it. Like
Does
I
it?
saw it. You can put it horizontal.
Okay.
Like I looked it up,
I'm good
so
then.
that's straight.
I'll get it. I've been convinced.
Dude, I watched like the press release or whatever. There was not too many games that I was excited for. Obviously,
Yeah, let's talk
Miles
about the
Morales,
games.
Spider-Man, that was like at the top of the list. Like hell yeah,
Yeah,
that looks like a good game. Horizon Zero Dawn, the new one,
that's getting a sequel.
that looks amazing. And then there was like this weird cat like robot game. I was like, I want to play that so bad. Did you
What,
guys see that one?
Yeah, that shit looked weird. The cat game.
Did you freeze?
I'm here.
Yep. There he is.
Okay, you're here.
The cat game looked weird.
It looks
There's
dope,
my
bro. I want to play it. It's weird.
Yeah. The
Yo, what
Ratchet
about
and Clank?
Cyberpunk?
Cyberpunk, I'm very excited for, but I'm also really nervous for.
When was
Why
that
is that?
game announced?
I'm
Yeah, I
so
don't even know
worried
that game.
it's
It
just
was
gonna be
announced
like,
like 3-4 years ago.
No, it's definitely announced longer than that.
I'm really worried it's just gonna be like bad. You know?
I hope not.
Like they're
It's
putting in a
been
lot of
public
work
for
and they
so
like
long,
keep pushing
bro.
back deadlines, which I'm okay with. Like take as long as you need to make it good. But I'm worried it's still like it's just not gonna be. I don't know. There's always that possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I've noticed, especially with like the next gen games in general, is like when it first comes out, it kind of looks like really similar to the previous generation. But like after a couple of years, with developers have like more time with the system,
Yeah.
that's when the game starts looking beautiful. Which is, it's kind of cool, like how that works. It's like, especially with this new press release, I was like, bro, like this doesn't look like next gen to me. This kind of looks just like PS4. But it'll take a couple of years, but then that's when you'll see like the insane capabilities of a PS5. It's just as powerful as like a gaming PC, which is cool. Like finally consoles have caught up, but it's dope. It's dope. Like I
So
like it now.
you and Matt are both.
Wait, hold on. Before we get to that, just a fun fact: Cyberpunk's first teaser trailer came out in 2013. Just for
Oh my-
some.
the release of Last of Us,
13?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh,
Damn.
shit.
and it's coming out now, bro. That was PS3, and now it's coming out 2
It's gonna
generations
be good.
later.
I've been convinced. It'll be good. So
Anyways,
you and Matt are both PC supremacists.
yes.
Okay, I've started playing console, so I guess I'm not as much anymore. But
You're not allowed in the PC.
for a while though, yeah, I was like, yo, PC. That's it. Nothing else. You're a
The
piece
other
of
day,
shit,
I forgot
but-
what game we were playing, but you just went, yo, the game was in like 30 FPS, and I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? I couldn't even play it.
It's a thing, dude. Like,
It really
like,
is.
It is like on my. I have a 144 hertz monitor, right? That I play my games on. So I play games at like over 150 FPS. So it's like butter smooth. And then when you switch to like consoles, like I was playing Horizon, and that's like locked at 30 frames. And usually it's like below 30. So I was like, dude, like it took me so long to get used to it. Like now I can play it, but like it takes a couple hours to like adjust. Like it's a thing, man. It's hard to
Yeah.
explain. Like you have to
When-
look at it firsthand.
When I had a very shitty laptop and I was just playing like a Minecraft at 30 frames,
Oh.
you know, I always thought I was like, oh, this is fine, you know. And then like I actually upgraded to like a real computer, and then I started playing things at like 60 frames plus, and I was like, wait a minute, what the hell was I
right?
doing beforehand?
Yeah, bro. Well, welcome to the PC master race.
I need to update my graphics card.
Yo, also speaking of talking about Minecraft, they just came out with a new update like today. with
Like the Nether
others.
update, right?
Yeah. Like me and Japage and a couple of our friends, like we have our own Minecraft world that we poured like so many hours into.
It's so
like
good. We're making
we're
it
gonna have
now.
fun. Like we had 2 worlds, but we don't talk.
We
about
don't talk about the first one. Dude.
we, like if we
The first Minecraft world we had like tore apart our friendship.
like
we
it
didn't
did.
talk-
Like all of our friends, like we were just mad at each other every time we played, dude.
we were like, we'll get on in 5 minutes, right? So me and one of my other friends got on, and then Sahib got on like maybe 10 minutes late, and he gets on and we're all like, you were fucking late, piece of shit, to play Minecraft. Yo, fuck you. And then he's just like, all right, bro, and he leaves, and then we don't talk for a week.
Dude, like we were so mad at each other. It was so like stressed in the first world, dude. We took Minecraft like serious,
Yeah.
bro.
And
Like, that
it's,
was our shit.
it's such an awful world. It's bad,
Yeah.
but the new one,
Yeah,
I respect it.
we almost had a world war happen.
What?
I heard about that on Twitter.
Wait, what?
Like it was trending again recently. World
Oh.
War Three.
Oh yeah, because of China and India having.
Yeah,
experiment.
that was wild.
Love it.
They didn't even like shoot at each other. They just like beat each other up.
No, like people died, bro.
Oh yeah, but like they didn't have any guns. They
Does
just
anybody
rocked
know-
at each
They like beat each other up.
Does anyone know why they're beefing?
A border?
dispute.
Yeah. It's wild.
Who cares?
I don't know much about it, but like what I read is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, India probably won't. I mean, they, to my knowledge, they definitely are not looking for a war with China.
India would get bodied.
Yeah, it's just. Well,
Yeah.
no, they're supposed to be a superpower now.
They would absolutely get bodied, bro. India's not a superpower.
There would be no more. There would be no more India after
Yeah.
the fucking World War.
Straight.
I'm down. I'm down.
I'm down with it.
Yeah, but then it'd just be super China. It's not much better. Let's just all think about it.
Straight, bro.
Like it,
I don't care.
Like
Super
Oh, no.
China.
Oh no, not the Hindu nationalist.
What I've been waiting this whole podcast for. Last of Us Part 2.
Okay, let's talk.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go into
Tell
the.
me, tell
Let's
me,
go
bro.
into the segment now.
I need to
What
hear
have
about
we
it,
been
bro.
doing recently? I started playing The Last of Us. Kyle watched The Last of Us like a fucking loser.
And I'm waiting for mine to come on Tuesday. God,
Let me
Paige
explain.
and our
Let
other
me
friends.
explain. Let me explain. Let me explain.
Just don't get too much
Oh.
into it, but just say your thoughts. Oh, is it bad? Is it bad?
No. Okay. No.
You wait, did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah.
Bro, it's
dude,
like 25 hours.
Bro,
It's
that's
like
illegal, dude.
25 hours.
You can't do that, bro. Yeah, it's like 25 hours, dude. What the fuck?
Okay.
What are you doing?
So.
It's been out for a day and a half.
So,
Yeah.
do you remember like a few years ago when some of the content shit was leaked?
Mm-hmm.
I'm spoiler free, bro. I haven't seen anything. Completely spoiler free.
I got a couple things spoiled for me.
Nothing, dude. Mine's coming on Tuesday. I'm ready. Better not spoil it, bro. Just put it down.
Don't get attached.
Bro,
Shut up!
Yeah.
Why would you say
Bro.
that to him?
I figured though. No, I figured something, but like I haven't seen anything. But like my own.
I
mind,
didn't
like,
say
yo,
anything. I
Just
never
say
said
good or
anything.
bad.
There are-
Why do you need to say story specifics?
Let me. So let me explain. So back in the day, I used to be a huge video game person. Like that was just my life. And then I started doing music. I just started getting like involved in other shit. So I had to sell all my shit to get money for like my music shit. So now I'm not like playing like that no more. So I was like, all right, well, I played The Last of Us. Yeah, loved it. And I was like, all right, I'm not gonna play this one. So fuck it. Have
Okay.
fun though.
So I
You guys are really
played.
good with it.
I played the first 3 hours. The gameplay is, I mean, it's pretty much the same. Like it's nicer, it's smoother, but it's pretty much the same. The story is weird, man. It's
Weird
just
in
so
a good or
far.
bad way.
So far it's just weird. And I don't know weird good or weird bad. I don't know how I feel about it yet because I haven't, like, the first 3 hours of any game are usually not where the story starts yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But man, what a hell of an intro.
I mean, The Last of Us, the original one, had the craziest intro of like any game ever. So
No.
did they try to live up to that or no?
Just play it.
Alright, bro.
This is the craziest intro of any game ever, and it's fucking weird.
Alright, bro. I'll take your word for it. It's coming out.
How do y'all just avoid like spoilers?
So
anytime I see a Last of Us video, no comments. I've not read a single comment.
I do this thing
Not
where
even,
I hate
titles?
myself. Like I
haven't
absolutely
seen
despise myself, so I'll click on it and I'll be like, yo, how far can I scroll? And then I'll see one and I'll be like, bye. Like, I don't know. I have this like weird like morbid curiosity where it's like I need to know, but I don't want to know. It's just so strange.
We'll talk about it again
Next
maybe
week.
in like 2 weeks when you're further in.
No, next
Yeah, I'm
week
gonna
we can
have to
talk.
watch.
I'll be done
I'm
with it by
excited.
next week. I'll definitely be done with it
By next week,
Yeah, 100%.
straight. So like, next Thursday, you and I'll talk about it, and then we'll discuss it more.
Next week, let's do a Last of Us review.
Alright.
I don't know why we're setting up the podcast on the podcast.
Yeah.
What else?
Tune in next week. Tune in next week
for Last of Us review. What else have you guys been?
Nick,
Sahib, what
How
have you
long's-
been watching? Wait,
Okay.
Matt has something to say. What do you want?
how long's the cutscenes like lengthwise? So you said you watched it all.
God, dude.
Let me
I don't own a PS4, so I wouldn't be able to play it anyways.
Sad.
Just buy one, bro. What's wrong?
No, I don't have money.
Just spend $500, idiot.
Oh, okay. Me put it like that.
Sage, have you tried playing Horizon Zero Dawn, bro?
No, because I wanted to wait for The Last of Us to come out. Because I finished... Okay, so I played The Last of Us, then I played What Happened to Edith Finch, which is
Oh, dude, I've been
really-
meaning to play that,
it's a
dude. I need to
beautiful
play
game.
that.
It's
It's
2
on my
hours.
list.
You can watch it because it plays like a movie. So What Happened to Edith Finch is really good. Then I think I played Detroit.
Dude, I need to play that. I played
Detroit
like
is
an
an-
hour, 2 hours, and then I just never
Yeah,
touched it
it's an
again. I
amazing
played it. I
game.
started it recently, and
It's
I just
so good.
stopped again. I can't get into it, bro.
I made all like the worst decisions. I got really bad endings. But definitely, dude, just get into it and then you'll be hooked. It's really good. And then I started Heavy Rain. But
The faces look so weird,
Yeah.
bro. Like
Yeah, I
I
don't
can't. Like their faces was like so weird.
Heavy Rain after playing Detroit it was a little boring just because Detroit is so like fast paced and it's newer gen, so it's like smoother and everything, and it's a bigger story. And then Heavy Rain is like, yo, this fucking kid died, and like you have to care about him, I guess. I don't know. I'll finish it, but not yet. And then I just wanted to wait for The Last of Us Part 2 to come out, and that's going weirdly.
Dude, the player reviews for Last of Us, insane. Like I haven't read the reviews, obviously, but like the critic score is like 98, and then the player score is like 3.3, which is ridiculous. It's like,
Yeah.
what the hell, dude? It's so weird.
Shut up, Kyle. You're making that fucking face where it's like you want to say
face?
some shit.
Nah, I can't.
I can tell you want to say some shit.
No,
Let's talk
no,
about
don't-
anything else.
Don't tell him
Okay,
to say some shit.
I started watching Legend of Korra.
Oh, I need to rewatch it. I just finished Avatar today, actually. Like before this podcast, I like rewatched all of it. Like I finished it. I was like, yo, it's so sick.
KJ, have you seen
Katara,
it?
yo, ship it. So sick.
Have you seen Avatar? KJ? Yes.
I have not finished Avatar.
You need
I'm
to watch it.
halfway through. I mean, obviously, I've seen all of Avatar. Like,
Oh.
come on now. But
Oh,
I haven't
okay.
finished. I haven't finished like rewatching Avatar. I am halfway through book 2.
So sick.
Sick.
Dude, the season finale is the most wild shit I've ever seen.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best.
Zuko, Azula, bro, nothing beats their Agni Kai thing. Oh my god, I watched it again today. I was going crazy.
Hey, Azula?
Azula's bad out of her mind.
Bro!
Out of her mind. Literally, Sahib's over here talking about he wants to fuck the PS5. I'm like, yo, Azula?
But Azula is too far.
Yeah. He's like, nah, I fuck with it.
Yeah. What else have you been watching in the past week? We talked about Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which you watched, and you.
Like you guys need to watch that movie. Like I did not think I would love it as much as I did, but like now that I've like thought about it, it's like definitely like top 3 movies I've ever seen. Like it's ridiculous. Like it's that good. Like I did not expect it at all. It like caught me completely by surprise.
I've been convinced. KJ, you been watching anything, listening to anything, playing anything?
Yesterday I had like an Atlanta marathon.
Oh, I love it.
Atlanta's already like one of my favorite shows, and just kind of rewatching it again just kind of reminded me of that. Obviously, I have to finish Avatar. I have to also finish the Midnight Gospel on Netflix.
Oh, I've heard.
I know that movie. Yeah,
it's really good. What else? I guess that's everything right now.
Matt,
have you
what
guys
about
seen Guava Island by Gambino?
So good.
So good, bro. I loved it.
Good.
It was so cool how he so that movie was shot digitally, but like he made it look like it was shot on film, and I watched the video when he was talking about it. The look he was going for, it was like it washed up on the shore of like a beach type vibe. Like that's what he was going for with the whole movie, and like you could see that like every shot just looks so much better because of like the weird film grain shit they put on it.
I could talk for hours about Gambino, and I feel like since we're already an hour and like 44 minutes in, so like next time.
Matt, what about you, bro?
Still watching the Clone Wars. But we got into the later seasons, and I forgot how pretty good it is, especially season 3 and on. So,
you still watching America's Next Top Model?
Yes, we are. Oh god, I have a story.
Him and his girlfriend are binge watching America's Next Top Model.
We watched we watched the first episode of the season 1. It was filmed in 2003, and you can tell. They made the girls like get bikini waxed on camera, which was one of the weirdest. Yeah, exactly. That was one of the weirdest things I've seen. And then they weighed and they weighed them and then like measured their height in front of all the other girls on camera. And I'm just like, this shit would not fly today.
That's her choice of entertainment.
That's strange.
Huh?
I was like, let's watch a later season.
Yeah, they did do that. They definitely did do that.
Yeah. Tyra Banks may be not a great person, but who knows?
I started rewatching Dear White People.
I've never seen it. Is it good?
Woke.
Like I was thinking about it, but I never did.
The title is like unfortunate and not at the same time because it builds up hype, but then it also turns people off from watching it. It's definitely worth the watch.
Did you watch the movie or the series?
I'm rewatching the series. I'm on season 2.
Oh shit! I've recently watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh,
dude,
I need to watch
insane movie.
Yeah.
Like I was, like it builds up so well. Like it's a comedy movie, but like you don't laugh till like the last scene of the movie. I swear, but like that laugh is so like well deserved and makes up for the whole movie. Like it's actually a really good movie.
Would you say it's one of Tarantino's best?
That's a hard question. It is different. It's really different, but it still has trademark Tarantino. So like, I don't know where I would put it on the list of like his movies, but it's definitely not at the bottom. But I wouldn't say it's like his best film either. It's somewhere in the middle, like below Kill Bill, below Pulp Fiction, but like above shit. Oh my god, I can't remember his movies right now. Hold up. Tarantino movies. I forgot off the top of my head.
I think it's better than
Django.
Definitely better than the Django. I didn't like that movie that much.
Django.
I didn't like it that. I'm sorry,
Dude,
bro.
that makes you racist.
I just
That
didn't
makes
like
you
the movie.
racist.
That makes you
I just didn't like it that much. I'm sorry. It was okay. I mean, I guess it's this. I don't know, but it's a good movie. Like you should watch it. Like it's so funny. It's about like Hollywood in I think like either the 60s or the 30s. I can't remember. And it has fictional
It's Charles
characters.
Manson, isn't that like 70s?
Like 60s, 70s.
I think early 70s.
Whatever, bro. It's a good movie.
60s or the 30s. They're interchangeable.
It had Manson and Bruce Lee. It's the 70s.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Whatever, bro. It's a good movie. Watch it. That's it. That's my
So like to the 3 people listening to this right now, watch Django.
Let me see if we even have 3.
Watch Django before Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
We have 2.
Alright,
Akil
to
says,
the
love
2
you guys.
I'm
the
one
two
of those 2.
Oh, so we have 1. I'm one of the 1. We have none. No one's listening.
Okay. Okay,
Not a
so
damn
Jeff
person.
Ted and Matt, do me a favor, look at Django before.
Let me just type gotcha in the chat. Is that all we got?
Sounds like
I
it.
think we got through everything. I do believe. So, Sahib, floor is yours. Promote whatever shit you want to promote. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. Final remarks, closing statements.
Okay. As we talked about pretty much the whole podcast, I do Chaatrik photography. It's my brand. It's hopefully can make some money by doing some freelance work. So if you live in the DMV area and you need a photo shoot after, the global pandemic, hit me up. I got you. Chatrikphotography.format.com. Okay. Quick note, actually, it's setting up a website is so annoying. Like getting your domain name and shit, dude. Like I don't like I own the domain name chatrikphotography.com, but like I can't like put it on the website. Like I don't know what I'm doing.
We'll talk. I think I figured out.
Yeah,
how to
it's
do that, but
annoying.
I'm not sure. We'll talk.
Yeah. Anyways, besides the point. Yeah. So check me out. That's chatrikphotography.format.com or my Instagram account chatrikphotography. CHAATRIK photography. That's my Instagram. Just go there. Straight. I think that's all I got.
All right.
My little plug.
Check out KJ. Check out Sahib Singh on Instagram. Sahib the Dream and and at Chaatrik Photography. Check out KJ Dawson. At the KJ Dawson on Instagram. Check out Matt Hanks at Matthew_L_Hanks.
That's me.
Check out Jiptej at Jiptej on
Nice.
Instagram. I know, right?
How do you get that name?
got
Bro?
that because no one else has my name. I own it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really, bro. I know like at least 5 people.
Do you know 5
Same name.
Jiptejes? Okay,
Yeah,
bro.
bro.
Okay.
Chicago. Yeah.
All right, link them up.
I got you, bro.
That's everything we got. Check us out on Instagram at Zero Budget Podcast. Subscribe to us so you can get all of our podcast videos. We're live every Saturday. I was gonna say at 3, but whenever we do it, pretty much. That's everything, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's everything. Thank you guys for listening to the Zero Budget Podcast. And now the song is going to play us out if I can get it to play.
Boom, 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 boom.